The world today feels smaller, faster, and more tightly woven together than at any point in history. Every day, billions of people connect, share, and collaborate across vast distances, making the planet feel like a single, bustling neighborhood. Advances in technology and communication have revolutionized how we interact, work, and do business. The internet, smartphones, and high-speed data networks have erased many of the barriers that once separated us. Just a few decades ago, making an international phone call was expensive and rare, reserved for special occasions or emergencies. Now, video chats across continents are free, instant, and part of daily life for millions. This hyper-connectivity has created a complex web of relationships between countries, businesses, and people. Goods, services, and ideas flow across borders at unprecedented speeds. News and trends can ripple across the globe in seconds, shaping opinions and decisions everywhere. Supply chains now span dozens of nations, linking factories, ports, and consumers in a delicate balance. What happens in one part of the world can quickly affect everyone else. A single event, whether a natural disaster, political decision, or economic shift, can set off a domino effect that reaches every corner of the globe. This interconnectedness brings both incredible opportunities and significant challenges. Businesses can reach new markets overnight, and people can experience cultures and ideas from afar. Global collaboration helps us tackle issues like disease, poverty, and climate change. Scientists and experts can share knowledge instantly, coordinating responses to crises in real time. But this same connectivity means that problems, like pandemics or misinformation, can also spread rapidly. A financial crisis or regional conflict can have worldwide consequences, shaking economies and societies far beyond their origins. The ripple effects are felt in stock markets, supply chains, and even in our daily lives. Navigating this landscape requires new ways of thinking about international relations. Diplomacy, cooperation, and understanding are more important than ever as nations work together to solve shared problems. Power now depends not just on military or economic strength, but also on connectivity, information, and influence. Social media and digital platforms can shape opinions and movements across borders in moments. Understanding this new dynamic is key to making sense of the shifting global order. Leaders, businesses, and individuals must adapt to a world where change is constant and boundaries are increasingly blurred. We have entered a more complex and fluid era, one where our actions, ideas, and challenges are more connected than ever before, shaping the future of our shared world. For a brief but remarkable period after the collapse of the Soviet Union, the world witnessed a dramatic shift in the balance of power. The United States emerged as the undisputed superpower, shaping the global order in its own image and setting the tone for international affairs. This era, often called the unipolar moment, was marked by American dominance in politics, economics, military strength, and even popular culture. From Wall Street to Hollywood, American influence seemed to reach every corner of the globe. Yet, even at its height, this period was never meant to last forever. History shows that power is always shifting, and new players inevitably rise. Globalization accelerated these changes as countries like China and India opened their doors to trade, investment, and innovation. Their economies began to grow at unprecedented rates, transforming them into major global players. These rising powers didn't just copy Western models, they adapted new technologies, developed their own industries, and built expertise that rivaled the West. The result has been a profound shift. The world is no longer dominated by a single superpower, but is instead moving toward a multipolar system, where influence is distributed among several major countries. Today, capitals like Beijing, New Delhi, and Moscow are not just participating in global affairs. They are helping to shape the rules and set the agenda. These nations are demanding a greater say in how the world is governed, seeking seats at the tables where crucial decisions are made. This transition has made international relations more complex, more dynamic, and far less predictable than before. The old certainties have faded, replaced by new challenges and opportunities. Building consensus on global issues, whether it's climate change, trade, or security, now requires patient negotiation and cooperation with a much broader range of actors. The era when one country could set the global agenda alone has ended. Today, leadership is shared, and influence is constantly negotiated. We now live in a world defined by shared power, ongoing dialogue, and the need for compromise between nations with different interests and visions. This new normal is reshaping global politics, creating a future where cooperation and competition go hand in hand, and where the balance of power is always in motion. In this multipolar world, rising powers are forming new alliances to amplify their influence. The most prominent is BRICS: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Originally an economic term, BRICS has become a formal political and economic bloc. Together, these countries represent over 40% of the world's population and a growing share of global GDP. They are major producers, manufacturers, and innovators. BRICS challenges the dominance of Western-led institutions like the World Bank and IMF. The bloc argues that global financial systems should better reflect today's economic realities. BRICS wants more say for emerging economies and fairer policies. Their goal is to reform, not overthrow, the existing order, building parallel systems that serve their needs. BRICS is the clearest sign of the rise of the rest. Their collective action is reshaping the global landscape. BRICS isn't just talking, it's building new institutions to challenge the status quo. The new development bank funds infrastructure and development in member and emerging countries, offering alternatives to Western loans. The contingent reserve arrangement provides emergency financial support, reducing reliance on the IMF. These moves give BRICS nations more financial independence. They're also promoting trade in their own currencies, aiming to reduce dependence on the US dollar. This de-dollarization is a direct challenge to American economic power. BRICS has expanded, adding countries like Saudi Arabia and the UAE, increasing its economic and energy influence. The group is building a bigger table, not just asking for a seat. BRICS Plus is a powerful coalition of non-Western nations demanding a greater say in global affairs. Their ambition is reshaping the world's economic order. Imagine a near future where tensions between the US and BRICS have been simmering for years, fueled by trade disputes, technological rivalry, and competing visions for the global order. Now, those tensions finally reach a breaking point, sending shockwaves through the corridors of power. In a bold and unprecedented move, BRICS imposes a sweeping 30% tariff on all US goods and services, a dramatic act of economic warfare that instantly grabs headlines around the world. The announcement is met with stunned silence and anxious whispers among diplomats and business leaders alike. Overnight, American exports become instantly uncompetitive in key global markets. Companies across the spectrum, from Silicon Valley tech giants to Midwest farmers, find themselves locked out, their products suddenly too expensive for foreign buyers. The ripple effects are immediate and severe. US brands see sales collapse, leading to layoffs, shuttered factories, and a wave of uncertainty on Wall Street. Stock prices tumble as investors scramble to assess the damage, and the sense of crisis deepens. But the pain isn't one-sided. BRICS nations also feel the sting. Consumers face higher prices for American goods, and local industries lose access to critical US technology and components, slowing innovation and production. Global supply chains, already fragile, are thrown into disarray. Shipping ports back up with idle containers, and store shelves in cities around the world begin to empty, highlighting just how interconnected the world's economies have become. The US dollar, long seen as a pillar of stability, starts to fall. But BRICS currencies also become volatile as markets struggle to price in the new reality, and central banks rush to respond. Investors panic, selling off assets and seeking safe havens. Decades-old supply chains unravel almost overnight, leaving businesses scrambling to adapt and workers facing an uncertain future. Both sides suffer deeply. American workers worry about their jobs while BRICS factory workers face production slowdowns. Around the globe, news anchors report on the escalating crisis, and ordinary people wonder what comes next. This first shot signals not just a trade dispute, but the start of a painful, unpredictable period for the entire global economy. Economists and policymakers scramble to find solutions, but the path forward is unclear. The stakes are high for everyone: families, workers, and businesses in every corner of the world. The uncertainty touches every household, every industry, and every nation. As the world holds its breath, hoping for de-escalation, one thing is clear: the consequences of this first shot will be felt far and wide, and the world may never be the same again. In a major trade war, the pain quickly spreads beyond the main players. The global economy is so interconnected that everyone feels the impact. Countries trading with both the US and BRICS are caught in the crossfire, forced to choose sides or face economic fallout. Supply chains break down and global trade grinds to a halt. The idea of winning a trade war is a dangerous illusion. Both sides inflict pain, but also suffer devastating blowback. The principle of mutually assured destruction now applies to economics. Breaking global connections would be self-destructive for all. The shared risk of collapse pushes leaders to seek stability and cooperation. In today's world, there are no winners, only varying degrees of loss. The world stands at a crossroads with several possible futures ahead. The most hopeful is one of cooperation. The US and rising powers recognize their shared challenges and choose to work together. Global institutions are reformed to reflect new realities, giving BRICS a greater voice. New and old institutions coordinate to fund development and tackle global problems. The US becomes a leader among equals, fostering collaboration. Rising powers act as responsible stakeholders, contributing to global public goods. Disagreements remain but are managed through diplomacy and shared rules. This path offers the best hope for a stable, prosperous, and peaceful future. Another possible future is one of managed competition. The US and BRICS, especially China, become long-term rivals, competing for influence and technological supremacy. The world divides into competing economic and tech blocs. Alliances form, standards diverge, and supply chains are reoriented within friendly blocs. This fragmentation slows global growth and increases costs. Cooperation is limited and transactional, reserved for existential threats. Suspicion and mistrust dominate, with constant jockeying for advantage. The risk of miscalculation and escalation is ever present. This is a future of uneasy stability and permanent rivalry. The most dangerous path is fragmentation, a world split into two disconnected systems. The US-led and BRICS-led blocs decouple their economies, currencies, and technologies. The internet fractures and global supply chains are severed. Companies must choose one sphere or the other. The efficiencies and innovations of globalization are lost. Global problems become nearly impossible to solve. This is a zero-sum world, where division triumphs over unity. The future is not preordained. It depends on the choices of leaders and citizens. The question remains, what kind of world do we want to build together?